Hi, this is Taryn Grome, editor of Pharma Voice. We met with numerous inspirational thought leaders at this year's DIA annual conference as part of our Editors Take video series. I hope you enjoy this discussion.
In this episode, we spend some time with Margaret Hurley, MD, President and CEO, Hurley Consulting Associates Limited. What types of regulatory challenges are sponsors facing in this era of mergers and acquisitions?
In today's climate, with all the mergers and acquisitions, one of the consequences is the streamlining of staff, which means that staff are made redundant, and as a consequence of that, the staff that is remaining inherits a number of projects, some of which they may not have any background to manage. This presents a challenge to the sponsors in that part of the corporate memory is gone. It leaves with the person because not everything can be or is written down. The other challenge that's going hand in hand with that is FDA's increasing requirement for applications to be submitted electronically, which from a user perspective, it's a wonderful thing to get electronic documents, but not if you have to take legacy documents and convert those applications from a paper-based application to an electronic application. That presents, in some ways, a logistical challenge for sponsors in how to manage both the information and the history that's needed to keep in compliance and to accurately complete annual reports and other documentation needed for FDA.
How are the FDA review practices changing the industry?
That's a very interesting question when you look at what's happened with FDA and PDUFA. FDA has committed to, and is committed by Congress to, a 10-month review clock. That review clock several years ago started from the date that the NDA was submitted to FDA. Now, that review clock is actually starting when FDA accepts the application for review, which is 60 days after the submission. FDA has effectively switched the burden from FDA on this review clock to the sponsor to ensure that what the sponsor submits is actually complete. And it's a not so subtle way of sending a message that we will do our job in the time we've committed to, but we need you to give us what we need to review and to do that in an efficient way, which is mutually beneficial to everyone.
How can sponsors better manage the FDA review and approval process?
The key for sponsors is to really anticipate what FDA needs. FDA is increasingly becoming clearer on what their requirements are, not only through the guidance documents that are available, but more importantly from some of the Q&A that's posted on the FDA website. They encourage sponsors to fully take advantage of the ability to communicate with FDA through FDA meetings prior to INDs, key decision points, but also prior to submission of the NDA. So if the sponsor has been interacting with FDA and is familiar with the guidance documents and FDA expectations, they should have a good idea of what FDA is looking for. But what's important in putting the application together is to make sure you've not only addressed the things that you've talked about, but all the other things that FDA is expecting, which are in the guidance documents or in other communications that have come from FDA. And to do that successfully, you need to be able to confirm that you've actually done that. Now, we all know that you don't develop a new compound or a new drug in a week or month or a year. And documentation is prepared many years in advance of the NDA submission or the BLA submission, and sometimes at least a year or two in advance of an ANDA submission. What's important is to confirm that in that application you've actually addressed what FDA needs. And in order to do that, we, over 20 years ago, started checking our work and reports that we prepared, and also those that were provided to us by sponsors, in according to a checklist that was based on the FDA reviewer guides, the guidelines, OECD, and also the ICH guidelines. And that is one of the ways that you can confirm for yourself that you've not only addressed the key points, which everyone is aware of in an application, but also that you've included the details and the information that FDA is going to require for a successful application. And we have decided in the past year to commercialize those checklists and make them available to sponsors through RegCheck, because our track record has been so successful with NDAs that we have submitted to FDA over the past 27 years.
For more information on this topic, visit our Thought Leaders website.
For more Editors Take videos from the 2015 DIA Annual Conference, visit www.pharmavoice.com. Thanks for joining us.